Okay, well, good morning and welcome to an introduction and overview of astrology basics. My name is Therese Antony, and I am the Executive Director of Soul Bridging, who is the sponsor of this program. Today's session is expected to run approximately 20 to 30 minutes, and during our time today, Jane will be providing you with an introduction and an overview of the content that will be covered in the webinar series. The Astrology Basics series begins at the same time next Sunday, January 21, and runs for 6 consecutive Sundays from 9 in the morning until 10:30 in the morning. During the introduction this morning, Jane will be going through some of the benefits that you'll receive and some of the additional content that will be available to you. If you experience any technical plot problems, please reach out to support@soulbridging.com, or you can also call me directly at 630-780-0733. Again, that's 630-780-0733. Any questions about the course and its content should be directed to Jane, and she will be providing you with her email contact information. All of the webinars will be recorded and be available for registered students, so that if you miss a class, you can make up on your own time and you can review the material that is covered during each session if you want to go back and review it again after you've participated. So if you haven't done so yet, please visit us at Soul Bridging, www.soulbridging.com, and let me tell you a little bit about Jane. So Jane is a consulting astrologer and author based in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. She's an avid student of astrology for the past 7 years, studying with the Faculty of Astrology in London, England, and she's currently working towards her MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology with the University of Wales, Trinity St. David's. Over the past 2 years, she's been writing a bi-monthly article for us at Soul Bridging on our astrology page, and this year she published her book, Astrology Basics, which is a wonderful little handy quick guide. Jane works as a management consultant and coach with clients in North America and the UK. She uses astrology as a tool in her coaching and consulting practice. Her approach is down-to-earth, thoughtful, and practical. She sees astrology as a tool that allows us to engage fully and move through the seasons and cycles of life without fear, but with awareness and purpose. So without further comment, I'll turn it over to our presenter, Jane Logan. Hello, Jane.
Hi, Therese. Thanks very much for the introduction.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. And welcome to everybody here. Delighted to be spending about the next 20 to 30 minutes with you, and we're just going to go through an overview of what will be covered in the seminar series to give you a flavor for what you could expect. So to begin, this is what we'll cover. We'll go through a little bit of background, what you will learn in the series, format of the program, the schedule, what's going to be included in each of the different weeks, and then what you need to do, what next steps might be. Okay, so Therese already gave me a wonderful introduction, which I appreciate. Just a little bit about Mindful Heart Astrology, which is my company. And the name, as the name suggests, I really take a look at blending right thinking with right feeling. Those are the two things that are most important in terms of effective use of astrology, I think. And my own personal belief is when your heart and mind are in sync, then all things are possible. So that's what's really important and reflective in the name of the company. So Therese did mention I'm a writer, astrologer, I'm a certified professional coach and a management consultant. I coach individuals and groups and also leaders, supervisors, managers within companies. And I've been in human resources for about 30 years, and the companies that I consult with is usually on the basis of organizational development and helping them with change management. a lifelong student, and I also want to just talk a little bit about my why for astrology. Everybody comes to astrology for a slightly different reason, I think. That's certainly been my experience in talking with many students of astrology over the years. My own personal why, as I had been searching for a way to more effectively deal with a personal loss, a significant personal loss. Actually, my mother had passed away about 9 years ago, and I was having a great deal of difficulty dealing with that. So I was trying to find some answers as to why I was having so much difficulty, and what I could do to work with that. So I had a chart reading, and the chart reading immediately made me feel validated in terms of understanding why I was feeling the way I was totally indicative of who I am and how I'm wired. So that made perfect sense, but it also enabled me to have a different understanding of what I might be able to do going forward. And I dove into astrology head first, and I've never looked back. And I not so jokingly say, I think astrology changed my life. So it's something that is near and dear to my heart, and I really love it. In terms of the soul bridging connection, I have been working with soul bridging for about the last 2 years, and from their perspective, the goal is really building soul awareness through education. And we view astrology as one of the resources and tools to be able to help us do that. So that's one of the reasons that we are partnering. Some of the benefits of astrology is enabling us to have an understanding of a language of symbols, and astrology really is a symbolic language. We talk about planets and signs and houses, and each of those is representative of something that is more concrete, more tangible. We are able to achieve an enhanced understanding of ourselves and others, and experience a great deal of personal growth, and certainly that is possible through astrology. And with the natal chart, which is really a snapshot of the heavens at the moment we are born, is really our map. It's our chart to navigate our life. And understanding the elements of our chart really helps us to plan our life's journey. And one of the things I like to talk about there is, instead of life just happening to you, you can engage with it and participate and have some say in the outcome, which is always a plus. So what you will learn over the course of the 6-week program: basic elements of astrology, the glyphs or the symbols for the planets and signs. We'll be also going through the houses. There are 12 houses, so each of those representing a different area of life. We'll look at the composition of your own chart. You'll have an understanding of what the makeup is relative to your own planet signs and houses. And you'll begin to develop your own language of astrology and be able to work with that in a conversational kind of way. So at the end, you'll be able to put together the basic elements and begin to develop a story and a plan to go forward. So this here is just the is the chart of the moment that we started the session today. So this is 12 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're on the West Coast, it's 9 a.m. And one of the neat things about astrology is you can use it in a variety of different ways. This happens to represent the start of an event. We think about astrology very often and the chart as being representative of an individual and the time of their birth, but we also use it for companies. Companies have charts, and countries have charts. Events have charts. It really depends on how you want to use it. I've even done charts for pets, believe it or not. So it is very multifaceted. In this particular example here, just to give you a flavor, planets. This is outlining the planet Uranus here. So you would, by the end of the session, certainly recognize that particular symbol. And the sign of Pisces, so we'll get into the signs, and the houses. There are 12 houses, and we will work our way around the chart for all 12 houses. And you'll be seeing a lot more of these types of charts. What we have in the center here are called aspects, and we'll be touching on aspects as well. And aspects basically represent the relationship that certain planets have with each other, if they're in relationship with each other at any particular point in time. Other things that we'll learn, most of you have probably heard something about the elements, so fire, earth, air, and water. And each of those has relevance to the planets, the signs, and the houses, and how different things are described, how they're manifested, how they behave, how the energies work. We'll also be talking about the polarities. So everything has an element of either yin or yang, either an outwardly directed type of energy or a receiving kind of energy. And then we'll get into the modes, which is really a cycle of energy. So cardinal being an initiating kind of energy, fixed being the manifestation type of energy, and mutable is a changeable energy, and then you work your way back around to cardinal. So there's a lot to consider, and a lot of this will make much more sense at the end of 6 weeks. This is just a representation here of, again, what you'll learn relative to your own chart. And I like to refer to the sun, the moon, and the rising sign as your big three. If all you knew were those three different components of your chart, that would give you a lot of information. And as you're talking with others who may be into astrology, if somebody were to say to you, I'm a Libra sun, a Capricorn moon, and a Gemini rising, as I happen to be, then you would be able to quickly put together some really basic information to understand how that person might be relating in their lives. So for example, Capricorn moon, again, which I happen to be in this particular example. Basically, one of the things I take out of that is I am very good at managing my emotions, which works well for a period of time in your life, but certainly one of the learnings I had, as I explained in my why getting into astrology, that I needed to work on. So in any event, your big three there, sun, moon, rising sign, you'll have a clear understanding what those are at the end of the session. Keywords relative to each of the planets and signs, and you'll be able to pull together the different meanings of the planet signs and houses using those keywords, and that's what helps you build the language. And of course, then what do you do with the information at the end of that? The program format, 6 online workshops. It follows the structure of the Astrology Basics book. It will be 6 consecutive Sundays from January 21st to February 25th, and each session will run about 60 to 90 minutes. I would suggest we'll probably be closer to the 90 minutes, though, once we have an opportunity to get people engaged and looking at your own charts. Then that'll take a little bit more time, so we wouldn't want to rush you through in 60 minutes. Each seminar will be presented in a similar format, so I will present the concepts. We'll have a practical application, active participation, and certainly an opportunity for questions and answers. At the end of each session, I will be sending out a homework assignment, which is totally up to you as to whether or not you complete the homework. But the benefit, of course, is anchoring the learning. And between the different seminars, it gives you a chance to stay engaged and keep familiar with what the topic is and be better prepared for the next session. So again, totally voluntary, but homework assignment. And it also gives you another opportunity to connect with me for some feedback. So you have the chance to send that through to me. I will provide comment on that and email that back to you. So it's just another one of the things that are included with the sessions. The schedule, 6 sessions, as we've said, it really follows a building block kind of process. The first session is an introduction, and also we will talk about the planet. The second session, we get into the signs, and that builds on the session before. So when we're talking about the planets, or the signs rather, we get into discussion about the planets. And then the next week we get into polarity, elements, and modes, which again draws on the signs and the planets. Then we get into the houses, which are the positions of all these things. We'll move into chart structure and aspects. Again, aspects are the relationships various planets have with each other in your chart. And then the final session, we'll spend a lot more time putting it all together. So certainly a lot of practical exercises during that final session. A lot to cover, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, but it's a great place to start. So what you'll take away from the 6 weeks, you will be able to identify the glyphs, so all of the planets and the signs and the glyphs associated with them, the qualities of each planet and each sign, the meanings of each of the houses, so the areas of life that they represent, the components of a particular chart, beginnings of the language of astrology, so again focusing on keywords, and familiarity with your own chart. So better understanding of what astrology means or what the signs and planets mean relative to your own your own life and your own experience. What's included? The 6 sessions, of course, the same format as we have today through Zoom. Every session will be recorded, and you'll have access to that through the Soul Bridging web platform. Once you register, I will be emailing you a copy of the PDF of the book that you can use as a quick reference guide forever, but certainly during the sessions if you wish. A copy of your own personalized chart that you can use during the session as well. We'll be referring to that. And weekly worksheets. I'll be sending worksheets in advance of every session to help you structure your note-taking and just provide you with a little direction as far as what's important in each session. So that will be helpful for you, as well as the personal feedback on the homework. And at the conclusion, everybody will receive a certificate of participation for having gone through the series. So a couple of other things as a thank you for participating in the seminar. I will be offering everybody a reduced fee for one chart reading through Mindful Heart Astrology. And as well, during the course of the 6 weeks, you'll be able to participate in a 30-minute Skype or Zoom session where we can connect and you can ask any questions about either the material presented, further clarify any element of the learning, or ask basic questions about astrology. And that's something that, again, allows us to connect and have a little bit more of a conversation relative to some of the things that are immediately significant for you. And then beyond that, for other webinars, you will have priority registration. So you don't have to wait in line, which is always nice. So what do you do next? Register through Soul Bridging. You can go directly to the website, which is soulbridging.com. And there will be a facility through the website to enter your birth data. So date, time, and place of birth are the elements that are required for your chart. You'll also need to provide your best email address so that I can send you a copy of your chart, PDF of the book, and your weekly worksheets. And then from there, set your calendar. So if there are any questions, this would be the point at which to ask them. I'm happy to answer whatever you might have.